Did you know that nearly 50% of older adults with type 2 diabetes avoid fruit altogether, fearing it will spike their blood sugar? But here's the shocking truth. A 2021 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that certain sweet fruits actually lowered A1C levels and reduced systemic inflammation when eaten the right way. Yes, you heard that right. Some of the very fruits you've been told to avoid might be the missing link to better glucose control, improved digestion, and even a healthier heart. And now, many doctors across the US are reversing their advice, especially for seniors living with diabetes. So, what changed? And more importantly, which fruits can help you, not hurt you? But before we dive into the juicy details, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips. All right, now let's explore 5 sweet fruits that are actually beneficial for people with diabetes, especially seniors. Fruit 1. Oranges. What if I told you that eating just one whole orange a day could lower inflammation, improve memory, and even help regulate blood pressure, all backed by science? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about fiber. A medium orange contains around 3 grams of fiber, and nearly all of it is soluble. According to a 2022 review in the journal Nutrients, soluble fiber slows gastric emptying and glucose absorption, which helps maintain steady blood sugar levels, especially important for seniors with insulin resistance. One meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that diets high in soluble fiber lowered HbA1c by an average of 0.3 to 0.4% in people with type 2 diabetes. That's not a small change. That's the difference between controlled and uncontrolled blood sugar. Now let's look at potassium. One medium orange gives you about 240 milligrams of potassium, a mineral many older adults are chronically low on. The CDC reports that nearly 98% of Americans don't meet the recommended daily intake of potassium. Why does this matter? Because potassium helps relax blood vessels, which lowers blood pressure. In fact, the Framingham Heart Study found that increasing potassium intake was linked to a 27% lower risk of stroke in older adults. Then there's vitamin C, which oranges are famous for. One orange gives you over 70 milligrams of vitamin C, more than 75% of your daily needs. But it's not just for immunity. Studies from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease show that higher plasma vitamin C is associated with better cognitive performance in seniors, especially in areas like verbal recall and processing speed. Let me share a quick story from my own clinic. Mrs. Dalton, a 78-year-old retired teacher, had been dealing with mild memory lapses and rising blood pressure. We didn't put her on medication right away. Instead, we focused on lifestyle. She started walking more, drinking more water, and adding a whole orange to her lunch every day. 6 months later, not only had her systolic blood pressure dropped by 9 points, but she also said her mental fog was lifting. She could finally remember her neighbor's name again. Here's something people often overlook: flavonoids. Oranges are rich in a compound called hesperidin. A randomized controlled trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that hesperidin from citrus fruits improved endothelial function, the health of your blood vessels, in just 4 weeks, especially in participants over age 60. That's big, because endothelial dysfunction is one of the early markers of heart disease. Plus, oranges are anti-inflammatory. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Immunology found that older adults who consumed whole citrus fruits at least 3 times a week had significantly lower levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of systemic inflammation. And we know that chronic inflammation is linked to arthritis, dementia, and even depression. Now, let's talk about digestion. The fiber in oranges also helps maintain a healthy gut microbiome. According to research from the University of California, Davis, flavonoids, and citrus pectin serve as prebiotics, fueling good bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. A healthy gut in older adults has been associated with improved mood, better nutrient absorption, and even lower frailty scores. And finally, let's not ignore the emotional effect. A paper from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health found that the scent of fresh citrus, like orange peel, can reduce cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, in adults over 65. Fruit 2. Apples. What if I told you that a single apple a day could reduce cholesterol, improve digestion, protect your heart, and even lower your risk of dying from cardiovascular disease, just by being consistent? That's not an old wives' tale. It's what modern science is now confirming. Let's start with fiber. One medium apple gives you about 4 grams of dietary fiber, and nearly half of that is soluble pectin. Soluble fiber acts like a sponge in your digestive tract. It binds to cholesterol and sugar, slowing their absorption. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, increased soluble fiber intake is associated with a 5 to 10% reduction in LDL cholesterol per 5 to 10 grams consumed daily. Apples make a meaningful dent in that number. A 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed over 50,000 adults and found that those who ate apples regularly had lower triglycerides, better blood sugar control, and significantly reduced C-reactive protein, CRP, levels, an inflammatory marker linked to heart disease and diabetes. Now, about blood sugar. Even though apples contain natural sugar, around 19 grams per medium apple, the glycemic index is low, only about 36, which means apples do not spike blood glucose the way white bread or fruit juice does. In fact, a 2022 meta-analysis in Frontiers in Endocrinology showed that apple consumption led to a modest but consistent improvement in fasting glucose and HbA1c among pre-diabetic adults over age 60. And it's not just fiber. Apples contain powerful polyphenols, especially quercetin, catechins, and floridzin. These antioxidants have been shown to improve endothelial function, which keeps blood vessels elastic and prevents hardening. A 2019 clinical trial in nutrients found that seniors who consumed apples with skin daily for 12 weeks had improved arterial flow and reduced blood pressure, especially those with mild hypertension. Let's not forget about brain health. A 2017 study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease showed that older adults with higher intake of flavonoid-rich fruits, including apples, had a 48% lower risk of developing dementia over a 10-year follow-up. That's huge. Researchers believe it's due to reduced oxidative stress and better blood flow to the brain. Now, digestion. Apples, especially with the skin, feed your good gut bacteria. According to a 2021 study from Tufts University, apple pectin supports the growth of bifidobacterium, a beneficial bacteria linked to better nutrient absorption and lower inflammation. For seniors who often face digestive sluggishness, this can be a game changer. And emotionally, apples are more than nutrition. They're comfort, memory, safety. A study from the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that the scent and texture of apples can evoke positive emotional memories and reduce stress in older adults, especially those living alone or in assisted care. Now for a practical tip. Pairing apple slices with a healthy fat like almond butter or a small piece of aged cheese helps slow digestion even more, preventing that sugar rush and crash and keeping you fuller longer. It turns a sweet fruit into a balanced snack, one that's both delicious and therapeutic. So let me ask you this. How do you usually eat your apples? Do you go for sweet Honeycrisp, tart Granny Smith, or the classic Red Delicious? And have you ever noticed a change in your digestion, energy, or focus after adding apples to your diet? Fruit 3. Strawberries. Think strawberries are just sugar bombs in disguise. Well, turns out they may be one of the most diabetes-friendly fruits out there. And yes, science backs it up. Let's start with blood sugar. Despite being sweet, strawberries have a low glycemic index, just 41. 1 full cup of sliced strawberries contains about 7 grams of sugar and 3 grams of fiber, which helps slow the absorption of glucose. According to a 2021 randomized trial published in the British Journal of Nutrition, older adults who ate strawberries alongside a carbohydrate-rich meal experienced a 27% lower postprandial glucose spike compared to those who didn't. That's a big win for anyone managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. But the magic goes beyond sugar. Strawberries are loaded with anthocyanins, natural pigments that give them their red color and powerful anti-inflammatory properties. A review in Critical Reviews in Food Science and Nutrition, 2020, noted that anthocyanins help improve insulin sensitivity, reduce oxidative stress, and improve blood vessel flexibility, especially in adults over 65. Let's not forget heart health. A long-term cohort study from Harvard's Nurses' Health Study followed 93,600 women over 18 years and found that those who consumed at least 3 servings of strawberries and blueberries per week had a 34% lower risk of heart attack. That's not from supplements. That's from real fruit. Now, inflammation. A clinical trial published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry in 2016 studied adults over 60 who consumed strawberries daily for 12 weeks. The result? Significant reductions in CRP levels and improvements in plasma antioxidant capacity. In simpler terms, less joint stiffness, better circulation, and fewer inflammatory flares. I'll never forget my patient, Ms. Diane, 81 years old, retired school librarian, still sharp, but recently dealing with aching hands and mild forgetfulness. She told me, "I just don't feel like myself anymore." We made a few dietary tweaks, including adding 1 cup of fresh strawberries with unsweetened Greek yogurt and a sprinkle of chia seeds every afternoon. 8 weeks later, she said her hands moved easier, and she no longer needed an afternoon nap just to feel human. Strawberries are also gut-friendly. Their unique blend of polyphenols, prebiotic fiber, and vitamin C support gut barrier function and nourish good gut bacteria. A 2022 study from Tufts University found that polyphenols in strawberries enhanced the growth of bifidobacteria in aging adults, helping reduce bloating, improve regularity, and support immune function. And emotionally, strawberries do something special. A 2019 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology reported that older adults who consumed colorful fruits like strawberries daily had lower levels of depression and anxiety, likely due to improved gut-brain signaling and increased antioxidant protection in neural tissue. They're also versatile. Fresh, frozen, blended, or baked. You can mix them with Greek yogurt for gut and protein support, add to oatmeal for morning energy, or pair with almond butter to flatten the glucose response curve. A helpful tip for those watching blood sugar. Eat strawberries with the skin And avoid commercial strawberry yogurts or jams. Those are loaded with added sugars that cancel out the benefits. Fruit 4. Grapes. They may be tiny, but grapes carry one of the most powerful compounds for healthy aging: resveratrol. Let's start with the science. Resveratrol is a polyphenol found mostly in red and black grape skins. A 2021 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry reviewed 24 human trials and concluded that daily intake of resveratrol significantly improved insulin sensitivity, particularly in older adults with metabolic syndrome. One clinical trial showed a 32% improvement in glucose uptake after 12 weeks of resveratrol supplementation. Even more interesting? Grapes themselves, whole fruit, not extracts, have been shown to improve metabolic function. A 2019 study from the Journal of Gerontology found that seniors who consumed 1.5 cups of fresh red grapes daily for 8 weeks had significantly lower fasting insulin levels, reduced waist circumference, and better energy levels throughout the day. Now, inflammation. Grapes hit this hard, too. Resveratrol has been shown to reduce levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, and TNF-alpha, 2 key markers of chronic inflammation. A study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, 2020, found that older adults who regularly consumed resveratrol-rich foods had better memory retention and processing speed, with functional MRI scans revealing improved blood flow to the hippocampus, the area of the brain responsible for memory. Now, let's talk hydration. Grapes are over 80% water, making them an excellent choice for older adults who often forget to drink. Mild dehydration is more common in seniors than we realize, and it contributes to fatigue, constipation, and even confusion. Adding water-rich fruits like grapes can be a stealthy way to fix that. And here's something most people don't realize. Grapes have a low glycemic load. Although their natural sugar content is moderate, about 15 grams per cup, they release sugar slowly into the bloodstream, especially when paired with protein or fat. A 2022 paper in Nutrients confirmed that consuming grapes alongside cheese or almonds resulted in significantly lower post-meal glucose spikes compared to grapes alone. From a heart health perspective, the data is compelling. A landmark study from the University of Connecticut found that grape polyphenols reduced oxidized LDL cholesterol by 11% and improved flow-mediated dilation by 15%. Both markers of reduced cardiovascular risk. That's huge for anyone over 60 concerned about artery health. And let's not forget digestion. Grapes contain natural prebiotic fibers that support gut bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. A 2021 clinical trial in older adults showed that eating grapes daily for 6 weeks increased gut microbiome diversity, which was correlated with better stool regularity, fewer gas complaints, and less bloating. Beyond the biology, there's emotional comfort. Grapes bring a sense of familiarity. They're easy to eat, easy to share. No knife, no cooking. And they remind many older adults of family, of comfort, of the simple joy of a shared fruit bowl. So let me ask you this. How do you like your grapes? Do you prefer red, green, or black? Do you eat them plain, or pair them with nuts or cheese? Fruit 5. Mangoes. You might think mangoes are off-limits because they're sweet, but the truth is, they're one of the most underestimated superfruits for seniors. Let's look at the facts. 1 cup of fresh mango, about 165 grams, contains 3 grams of dietary fiber, most of which is soluble. This type of fiber helps slow the release of glucose into the bloodstream, which keeps blood sugar levels more stable. According to a 2020 randomized clinical trial published in Nutrition Research, older adults with prediabetes who ate 1/2 mango with lunch for 12 weeks had a 9.3% reduction in postprandial glucose compared to the control group. Now, let's talk vitamins. Mango is one of the richest fruits in vitamin A and C, two nutrients that become increasingly important with age. The USDA reports that a single cup of mango delivers 66% of the daily value, DV, for vitamin C, critical for immune defense and collagen production. 35% of the daily value for vitamin A, which supports eye health, especially in preventing age-related macular degeneration, AMD. A 2017 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked higher vitamin A intake to a 40% lower risk of AMD in seniors over 65. Meanwhile, vitamin C has been shown in JAMA ophthalmology to slow the progression of cataracts, particularly in people over 60. Now let's talk inflammation and metabolism. Mango is one of the few fruits containing mangiferin, a rare polyphenol. This compound has antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and lipid-lowering effects. In a 2020 review published in Molecular Nutrition and Food Research, mangiferin was shown to reduce CRP levels, improve insulin response, and decrease triglycerides by up to 18% in adults with metabolic syndrome. Take Ms. Carla, one of my regular patients. She's 69, retired schoolteacher, trying to manage borderline blood sugar and chronic dry skin. Instead of cutting mango out of her diet, I encouraged her to enjoy a small serving, about half a cup, alongside Greek yogurt and a handful of almonds. After 6 weeks, her fasting glucose dropped from 112 to 102 milligrams per deciliter, and she told me, "Doc, my skin hasn't felt this smooth since my 40s. Beyond blood sugar and skin, mango also supports digestion. It contains amylase enzymes, which help break down carbohydrates more efficiently. A study from the Journal of Nutrition in 2018 found that daily mango consumption significantly improved stool consistency and reduced markers of gut inflammation in adults over 60. That's a big win for seniors struggling with constipation or bloating. And let's not forget the brain. Mango's bright flavor and aroma may not just lift your mood, it might literally rewire your stress response. A study from Appetite Journal in 2021 found that tropical fruits like mango were associated with lower cortisol levels and higher positive affect scores in seniors experiencing chronic stress or mild anxiety. One more tip: pair mango with protein or healthy fat, like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or a few cashews. This slows down the glycemic response and turns a tropical treat into a balanced snack that's both satisfying and smart. So here's the truth. Fruit isn't the enemy. Not when it's chosen wisely, and especially not when it's whole, fiber-rich, and packed with natural compounds that work with your body, not against it. Whether it's the calming citrus of an orange, the steady strength of a crisp apple, the smart sweetness of strawberries, the vascular magic of red grapes, or the tropical surprise of mango, each of these fruits offers something powerful for seniors looking to age better, move easier, and think clearer. And it's not about perfection. It's about small, thoughtful choices. Adding a few slices of fruit here, swapping a processed snack there, listening to how your body responds. Every little step counts more than you think. So why not take that first bite today? I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 fruits do you eat most often? And which one are you inspired to try in a new way? And if this video gave you a new perspective, go ahead and like it, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Health Tips.